All right, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something super useful.
Okay.
Prepping for a sewing machinist interview.
Nice.
And to help us get ready, we've got RoleCatcher's amazing resources, so that's their career guide,
Yeah.
the sample interview questions they have, and even a little peek
Oh, cool.
at their AI tools.
Very cool.
So by the end of this, you'll be ready to walk into that interview
I love it.
with confidence, and your skills will be sharper than a
Yeah.
brand new needle.
You know what I think is really cool about the sewing machinist interview is that they're not just looking for somebody who can sew a straight line.
Right.
Like they want to see your problem-solving skills,
Right.
your adaptability,
Yeah.
your passion for the craft, all those things that make you stand out.
Yeah. Okay, so let's set the stage a little bit.
Okay.
The RoleCatcher Career Guide gives us a really great overview of this whole world of the sewing machinist.
It does.
You could be working in a factory,
Yeah.
a small shop, or even a home studio.
And it emphasizes how technology is really changing.
Oh, yeah.
Computerized machines, new fabrics,
Mhm.
sustainable practices, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and those are all things that interviewers could ask about
Oh, for sure.
to see if you're keeping up with the industry.
Yep, totally.
Okay, so let's get into some of these interview questions.
Okay, let's do it.
RoleCatcher has a whole bunch of these, but we're going to focus on the most common ones.
That's good.
Starting with, can you describe your experience with different types of sewing machines?
Oh, this is where they are testing your knowledge.
Okay.
Don't just list the machines you've used.
Right.
Talk about the types of projects you've done on each, the challenges you faced,
Yeah.
and how you overcame them. And I'm going to give you a little tip. Remember the STAR method?
Oh, the STAR method.
Situation, task, action, result.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So they're probably also trying to figure out if your experience aligns with the machines that they use in-house.
Right.
So be ready for those follow-up questions like,
Yes.
have you ever worked on a specific machine model? What's your comfort level with industrial sewing machines?
Yeah. And this is where RoleCatcher's AI tools can help.
Oh, tell me more.
They have a job description analyzer, and it can pinpoint the specific skills they're emphasizing in the job description.
That's cool.
And you can tailor your answers accordingly.
That's like having a personal tailor for your interview prep.
I love it.
Okay, next question. How do you ensure the quality of your work?
Oh,
This one feels like a trap.
it is a trap.
Okay.
They're not just asking if you're a perfectionist.
Right.
They want to hear about your process, your attention to detail,
Yeah.
how you spot and fix errors.
Mhm.
So it's a chance to show off your
Sure.
pride in your craft.
So instead of just saying, I'm really careful,
Yeah, don't say...
maybe talk about your system for double-checking measurements.
Yes.
Testing stitch tensions, inspecting the seams, that kind of thing.
Highlight those techniques
Okay.
you use to maintain consistency and meet quality standards.
Yeah.
You can even share a story about a time you caught a mistake before it became a big problem.
Oh, I like that.
Interviewers love that.
Oh. Okay, question number 3.
All right.
How do you handle difficult or complex sewing projects?
It's all about problem solving.
Okay.
They want to know, can you break down a challenging project into steps?
Right.
Troubleshoot issues, think outside the box?
So don't just say you're good at figuring things out.
Yeah.
Give them an example.
Give me an example.
Like a time you had to adapt a pattern for a really tricky fabric.
Ooh, yes.
Or figure out a new stitching technique.
I love that. Make sure you connect it back to the job.
Okay.
If they specialize in custom work, talk about your experience with intricate designs or alterations.
All right, question number 4 gets a little bit more technical.
Mm-hmm.
Have you worked with industrial sewing machines before?
Okay.
Now, not everyone has right.
Right. Be honest
Yeah.
about your experience. If you have, describe the models you've used,
Uh-huh.
the types of projects you completed. But even if you haven't,
Yeah.
don't panic.
Oh, okay.
Highlight your willingness to learn.
Right.
You can say something like, while my experience is primarily with domestic machines, I'm eager to learn industrial models, and I'm a very fast learner.
Yeah. That shows adaptability
Yes.
and a thirst for knowledge, which are always valuable.
Always.
Speaking of learning, the next question is,
Okay.
how do you stay up to date with new sewing techniques or technologies?
Okay. So they want to know that you are passionate about this
Yes.
and that you're not stuck in the past.
Yeah.
So mention any courses you've taken,
Oh.
online tutorials you follow, industry blogs, you read conferences you've attended.
You could even talk about a specific new technique that you're excited to learn.
Yes.
Or a new piece of technology you've been experimenting with.
Show that enthusiasm.
Yeah, show that excitement.
Yeah.
And you know what this ties into?
What?
RoleCatcher's AI feedback feature.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
You can actually record your answers to these questions, and their AI will analyze your responses. and highlight areas where you could be more concise, more impactful, or more tailored to that specific job.
So cool.
So it's like having a personal coach in your pocket.
I love that.
All right, question number 6.
Hit me.
Can you describe a time when you had to work under pressure to meet a deadline?
I bet everyone has a story.
Oh, I think everyone has the story for this one.
The key here is to show how you handle stress effectively,
Right.
how you prioritize tasks,
Yeah.
but still deliver that high-quality work.
Uh-huh.
So set the scene for me.
Okay.
What was the project? How tight was the deadline? And then focus on your actions.
Okay.
Did you break the project down into steps?
Oh,
Did you
sure.
communicate well with your team?
Yeah.
Did you stay calm and focused?
And don't forget to highlight that positive outcome.
Yes.
Did you meet the deadline? Did you exceed expectations?
They want to know that you can handle it.
Yeah, they want to see that you can handle it
Yeah.
and still succeed.
Exactly.
Okay. Question number 7. Let's hear it. This one might seem basic, but how do you ensure that you are working safely when using a sewing machine?
Oh, this is important.
Yeah, they're assessing your awareness of the potential hazards
Yeah.
and your commitment to following those procedures.
This is where you can shine
Yeah.
by showcasing your knowledge of best practices.
So don't just rattle off a list of rules.
No.
Describe the specific safety protocols that you follow.
Yes.
Like wearing protective eyewear,
Mm-hmm.
keeping your fingers clear of the needle,
Yes.
and regularly maintaining your machine.
All very important.
If you've had any formal safety training, be sure to mention that.
Definitely.
It shows your commitment to working responsibly
Yes.
and taking safety seriously.
Now, before we move on to the next set of questions,
Okay.
I think it's important to highlight the career trajectory of a sewing machinist.
Ooh, tell me more about this.
RoleCatcher's Guide actually outlines different career stages, from entry level to senior positions.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's fascinating to see how that focus shifts from mastering those basic techniques to leading teams and even innovating new designs.
So as you're preparing for your interview, think about, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
That's a good question.
Do you want to manage a team?
Yeah.
Do you want to specialize in a particular type of garment?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even start your own business?
Oh, I love that.
Having a clear vision of those career goals will help you articulate your ambitions during the interview
It will.
and show the interviewer that you're serious about this.
Definitely.
All right, back to those interview questions.
Okay.
Number 8 is a little bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a sewing machine issue?
Oh, yeah. This is assessing your technical know-how and your problem-solving skills.
Okay.
Think back to a time when you successfully diagnosed and fixed a problem with a sewing machine.
Like a thread got jammed, a needle broke, the tension was off.
Totally.
Walk them through that whole process.
Yes.
Of how you identify the problem, what steps you took, and the solution you came up with.
And don't be afraid to mention any resources that you used.
Oh, yeah.
Like online tutorials or machine's manual.
It shows resourcefulness.
It does.
Okay, on to question number 9.
All right.
How do you ensure that you are producing high-quality work efficiently? This one kind of ties together a bunch of things that we've already talked about.
It's all about that balance.
Yes.
Speed and precision. They want to see that you can work quickly, but without sacrificing quality.
How do you optimize your workflow? Do you have a system
Right.
for organizing your workspace?
Uh-huh.
Minimizing distractions, breaking down complex tasks into steps.
Maybe you've developed techniques for speeding up certain tasks while still maintaining accuracy.
Yeah.
Share those methods
Right.
and emphasize your commitment to both efficiency and quality.
Now, we've covered some of the most common interview questions.
We have.
But let's not forget that RoleCatcher's AI tools can help you prepare for anything that they might throw your way.
Oh, for sure.
Their question bank has a wide variety of prompts,
Yes.
including those specific to sewing machinist roles.
Awesome.
And their AI feedback will help you refine your answers and highlight your unique skills.
Love it.
So it's like having a secret weapon in your interview arsenal.
I love that analogy.
Okay, we're making great progress here.
We are.
Let's move on to some of the less technical questions
So-
that often come up.
Let's do it.
These might seem a little bit easier,
Yeah.
but they're just as important.
Oh, for sure.
They're often about your personality, your
Yeah.
work ethic,
Yeah.
how you'd fit into their team.
It's about the whole picture.
Yeah, for example, they might ask,
Okay.
Tell me about your greatest strength as a sewing machinist.
Oh, this is your time to shine.
Okay.
Highlight a skill that sets you apart.
Oh.
Maybe you're exceptionally precise with detail work.
Oh.
Maybe you're a master at troubleshooting machines.
No.
Maybe you're a whiz at challenging fabric.
So back it up with an example. So instead of just saying I'm a fast learner,
Don't just say that.
you might say I'm a fast learner, which allowed me to quickly master the techniques for working with leather when I took on that project for it.
I love it.
All right, let's tackle another common question.
Okay.
Tell me about a time you made a mistake at work. What did you learn from it? Nobody's perfect.
We all make mistakes.
And they know that.
Exactly.
So they're looking for self-awareness
Yes.
and a willingness to learn from those mistakes.
Oh, I love that.
So choose an example that's relevant, but not catastrophic,
Right.
and focus on the lessons that you learned.
Yeah.
Maybe you misinterpreted a pattern instruction.
It happens.
You sewed a seam incorrectly or accidentally damaged a piece of fabric.
Yes.
What's important is that you owned up to that mistake, took steps to rectify it, and you learned from that experience.
It shows that you're accountable and you are committed to continuous improvement.
Okay, one last question for this part.
Get me.
Why are you interested in this particular role at our company?
All right, this is where you show off your research and your genuine interest. Talk about what specifically attracted you to the company.
Okay.
Their mission, their products, their work culture.
Did you read an article about their innovative designs? Do they specialize in a type of garment that you're passionate about?
Be specific.
Yes, be specific.
And show you've done your research.
And make sure you connect your skills and experience to their needs.
Yes.
Great point. We've covered a lot of ground in this first part.
We have.
Really focusing on those essential interview questions and how RoleCatcher's resources can help you craft those winning answers.
I feel like we've given them a lot of great info.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But the interview prep doesn't stop there.
Oh, no, it does not.
In the next part, we're going to dive into some more challenging questions.
Oh, good.
Explore the importance of showcasing your passion for sewing.
Yeah.
And discuss how to leverage RoleCatcher's AI tools to gain that competitive edge.
I'm excited. I'll see you there.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
All right. Welcome back.
Okay, ready.
I hope you're feeling pumped and ready to tackle this next phase of interview prep.
We just covered a ton of those really common questions, but I know there are some trickier ones that really kind of throw people off.
Oh, for sure.
So let's dive into those.
Okay, so those are the ones that really test your critical thinking
Okay.
and how you handle those curveballs.
Yeah.
So, for example, they might ask you,
Okay.
imagine you're working on a really complex garment with multiple layers and intricate stitching. How do you approach a project like that to ensure accuracy and efficiency?
That's a good one. They're not just looking for like the step-by-step sewing guide here.
No, they want to know how you plan, how you think,
Right.
how you prioritize. What are those challenges? So
Yeah.
talk about carefully reading the pattern,
Yeah.
marking the fabric with precision,
Okay.
maybe even doing a test run on a scrap piece
Oh, that's smart.
to make sure your stitch settings are right.
Yeah. And I think it's important to mention, too, taking breaks
Oh, for sure.
to avoid fatigue, especially when you're doing those really intricate details.
Yes,
Fresh mind catches those mistakes better.
absolutely. And don't be afraid to talk about the tools or techniques you use to stay organized,
Okay.
like color-coded threads, labeled pattern pieces, a system for keeping track of your progress.
That shows that you're thoughtful and you have a system for managing that complexity.
It does.
Okay, here's one that always makes me a little nervous.
Okay.
Let's say you're working on a deadline and your sewing machine suddenly malfunctions. What do you do? Talk about pressure.
This question is all about your ability to stay calm under pressure
Right.
and solve problems quickly.
So first take a deep breath. Don't panic.
Yes, deep breaths.
Deep breaths.
And then troubleshoot. Can you identify the problem? Is it an easy fix, like a jammed thread or a broken needle?
Right.
Or is it something more serious that requires backup?
Yeah, if it's something you could fix yourself, walk them through the steps.
When-
And if not, explain how you'd communicate that to your supervisor or whoever, and maybe suggest some alternative solutions to minimize those delays.
Totally. Like, is there another machine you can use temporarily?
Right.
Can you focus on some other tasks while the machine's being repaired?
Yeah.
Just show that initiative and resourcefulness.
Okay, how about this one? Tell me about your strengths and weaknesses as a sewing machinist. This one feels like a trap.
It can be if you're not prepared.
Okay.
So for strengths, highlight something very specific and relevant to the job, like your precision, troubleshooting skills,
Yeah.
your experience with a particular type of garment.
Right. So back it up with an example. Instead of just saying, I'm a fast learner,
Yes, give me an example.
you might say, I'm a fast learner, which allowed me to quickly master the techniques for working with leather when I took on that project for.
Perfect.
Okay. And what about weaknesses?
So choose something that you are actively working on improving. Like maybe you're still building your speed on certain tasks, or you're a little hesitant to try new techniques at first, but frame it positively.
Okay. So you could say, I'm always striving to improve my speed on zipper insertion. So I've been practicing different techniques and timing myself to track my progress.
That shows self-awareness and a commitment to growth.
Okay. I like that.
So we've been talking a lot about skills and experience,
Uh-huh.
but let's talk about passion.
Okay. You mean like going beyond just listing your skills and experience?
Yes. Think about what drew you to sewing in the first place.
Okay.
What are you most proud of? What gets you excited?
Yeah.
If you can weave those personal touches into your answers, it'll make you stand out.
That's a good point. So instead of just saying that you're proficient in using a serger,
Yeah.
maybe talk about a project where you really enjoyed using that technique.
Totally.
Or mention a designer whose work really inspires you.
Yes. Show that you're not just looking for a job. You love what you do.
And you know, this kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier.
What's that?
With RoleCatcher's AI tools.
Oh, yeah.
They're not just for analyzing those job descriptions and refining your answer.
Right.
But they also have this amazing feature where you can practice answering interview questions
Oh, cool.
and get feedback from their AI.
It's like having a virtual mock interview
Right.
with an expert.
The AI actually analyzes your response for clarity, conciseness, and impact, and it even gives you suggestions on how to tailor your answers to those specific companies
I love that.
or roles.
That's amazing.
It's a game changer.
It is.
Okay, let's get back to some of those interview questions.
Okay.
There's one that's often asked towards the end, and it can be a real make or break moment. Do you have any questions for us?
Oh, yeah.
I know some people just say no
Yeah.
because they're so relieved that the interview's almost over.
I get it, but don't do that.
It's a missed opportunity.
It is.
Asking those insightful questions shows that you're engaged, you're curious, and you're really thinking about the role and the company.
It's also a chance for you to gather information,
Uh-huh.
to decide if this is the right fit.
So what are some good questions to ask?
Okay. You can ask about the company's future plans, their commitment to sustainability, their approach to training and professional development. You can also ask about the team,
Okay.
the projects you'd be working on, the company's culture.
An interview is a two-way street.
It is.
It's as much about you evaluating them
Right.
as it is about them evaluating you.
And speaking of evaluation, let's go back to RoleCatcher's career guide.
Okay.
It gives this really cool overview of the career paths available.
Yeah, it's so inspiring to see how you can progress from those entry-level positions to roles with more responsibility, leadership opportunities, and even a chance to specialize in a certain niche.
So think about your long-term career goals.
Okay.
Do you aspire to manage a team, specialize in a particular type of garment, or even start your own business?
Having a clear vision of your future will not only help you articulate those ambitions, but also guide your career decisions.
In the years to come.
Okay.
And remember, RoleCatcher's resources are there for you every step of the way, from finding those job openings to crafting a great resume to acing that interview.
They're like a trusty sewing machine, always there to help you stitch together that successful career.
Okay, now time for another one of those tricky interview questions. What are your salary expectations?
This one always feels awkward.
I know it's tough, but be prepared.
Okay.
Do your research, use websites like Glassdoor or salary.com,
Yeah.
to get an idea of what the average salary range is for sewing machinists in your area.
RoleCatcher also has salary data
They do.
for different sewing machinist roles based on location and experience, so be sure to check that out too.
Definitely. And when you're answering the question, be confident,
Okay.
but flexible.
Okay.
You can say, based on my research and experience, I'm targeting a salary range of X to Y. However, I'm open to discussing it further, based on the specifics of the role and the benefits package.
So that shows that you're knowledgeable, but also willing to negotiate.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's tackle another tough one. Why should we hire you? This feels like a time to brag, but I know it's important to do it strategically.
Yes. It is your opportunity to summarize your key strengths
Okay.
and connect them to the job requirements.
think about those top 3 or 4 skills or experiences that make you the perfect candidate.
Exactly, for this specific role.
Like maybe you have a really proven track record of meeting deadlines,
Mm-hmm.
or you're exceptionally skilled at working with delicate fabrics,
Yeah.
or maybe you're a master at troubleshooting machine issues.
And don't just list those skills.
Right.
Give me an example, like, I'm a highly efficient worker, and in my previous role, I consistently exceeded production targets by 15% while maintaining a 99% quality rating.
Wow, that's impressive.
See?
Quantifiable data.
Yes.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, let's talk about those soft skills.
Yes.
Those personality traits that can really make you shine.
Right. We're talking about communication.
Okay.
Teamwork. Problem solving.
Yeah.
A positive attitude.
So those are just as important as your technical abilities,
They are.
especially in those collaborative environments, like a sewing studio or factory.
So think about how you can weave in examples that show you're a hard worker,
Right.
that you can collaborate,
Uh-huh.
and that you're enthusiastic.
And don't forget to smile.
Yes. Smile.
A genuine smile can go a long way.
It can.
We've covered a lot of ground in this part, from tackling those tricky interview questions to showcasing your passion and emphasizing those all-important soft skills.
I feel good about it.
Me too. In the final part, we're going to dive into some final tips for making a lasting impression.
Yes.
Discuss the importance of following up after the interview, and we'll explore the future
Ooh,
of the sewing industry.
very cool.
Grab your sewing kit, stay tuned, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back for the final part of our Sewing Machinist interview prep. Me too. We've covered so much already, but I want to talk about some of those finishing touches that can really make a difference.
Yes. Those little details.
So, first impressions really matter.
They do.
What are some things to keep in mind when you walk into that interview room?
Okay, first of all, dress professionally.
Oh.
No, you don't have to wear a suit,
Right.
but your clothes should reflect the job you're applying for.
Yes.
Neat, clean, put together. It shows that you take this seriously.
And maybe you could even incorporate, like, a touch of your personal style.
Oh, I love that.
Like a unique scarf,
Hmm.
a piece of jewelry that you made a really well-tailored shirt, something that kind of subtly shows your passion
Yes.
for sewing.
It's a great conversation starter.
Yeah.
It shows you put some thought into it.
Uh-huh. And don't underestimate the power of a firm handshake and good eye contact.
It's so important.
Conveys confidence and respect.
It does.
Speaking of confidence, what about body language?
Oh, yeah.
I tend to fidget when I get nervous.
We all do try to sit up straight, make eye contact,
Yeah.
and avoid, fidgeting too much.
Easier said than done.
I know, but remember, you've got this. You've prepared, you know your stuff, and you love sewing. Let that confidence shine through.
Okay, now we've talked a lot about answering questions.
We have.
But what about asking them?
Oh, so important. Asking those insightful questions at the end of an interview is crucial.
Yeah.
It shows that you're engaged, you're curious, and you're thinking critically
Okay.
about the role and the company.
So maybe instead of asking just about salary and benefits,
Yes.
inquire about something specific to the company's work or their culture.
I love that.
Like, I noticed that your company is committed to sustainable practices.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Perfect.
Or, what opportunities are there for professional development and growth within the company?
Those are great questions.
Those kinds of questions show that you've done your research.
Yes.
And that you're really interested in being part of their team.
And speaking of research, let's not forget about RoleCatcher. Their company profiles are amazing. You can learn all about the history, their mission, the products, their culture.
Yeah.
And their AI tools can even help you tailor your questions to those specific companies and roles.
It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
I love that.
Okay, so the interview's over.
Yeah.
What happens next? Do you just sit and wait anxiously?
No, don't do that follow-up.
Okay.
A thank you email or note shows
Nah.
your appreciation and it reinforces your interest.
Okay, so keep it concise, reiterate your enthusiasm, and maybe mention something specific that you talked about during the interview.
Yes, that really stood out to you.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard back within a reasonable time frame, maybe a week or two, it's totally fine to follow up again and just check in.
Yes.
Shows that you're proactive and you're interested in the opportunity.
I love it.
Okay, let's wrap things up with a little bit of a broader perspective here.
Okay.
Where do you see the sewing industry heading in the future?
Ooh, that's a big question. We've talked about how technology is changing things, computerized machines, 3D printing new fabrics.
Yeah.
But I think that human element will always be so important.
Oh, well, that's reassuring to hear.
It is.
So those handcrafted details, the eye for design, that passion for creating something beautiful and useful with your hands, that's always going to be valuable.
Yes, and I think there's this growing appreciation for that human touch, for those skills that can't be replicated by a machine.
So maybe we'll see this surge in demand for these highly skilled artisans.
Totally.
People who can create those bespoke garments, intricate embellishments,
Yeah.
custom designs that really stand out.
Absolutely. And, there's also this growing awareness of the impact of fast fashion.
Yes.
So I think we'll see more emphasis on sustainable practices, upcycling, creating garments that last.
It feels like the sewing world is really on the cusp of something really interesting and exciting.
It is. And for those who are passionate about sewing,
Yeah.
who are willing to embrace those new ideas and technologies, the future is very bright.
Well, that's a great note to end on.
I agree.
I feel really inspired.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling empowered and ready to take on those sewing machinist interviews with confidence and skill.
And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way, and we're always here to cheer you on.
You'll get them.
Until next time, happy sewing.